Today, we will discuss on the topic agro-processing industries in India. The importance of agriculture in India's development process is paramount. For a vast country like India, agricultural development has been crucial from the perspective of income distribution and inclusive development, as a large section of the population is directly or indirectly dependent on agriculture. Agro-processing industry in India has a huge potential for the growth and development of its socio-economic condition, especially in the field of employment and income generation, in order to reduce inequality. Acknowledging its growing importance, agro-processing industry is being christened as the sunrise sector of the Indian economy. We will discuss the topic in the context of the status. Agro-processing industries refer to those activities that involve the transformation of agricultural commodities or products into different forms that add value to the products. Agro-processing industries involve the application of techno-economic activities for conserving and handling of agricultural products. Agro-processing activities make agrarian productions usable as food, feed, fiber, fuel, or industrial raw material, both for the short and long-run needs. In India, the importance of agro-processing industry is not of recent origin. In today's discussion, we will focus on the recent development in India's agro-processing industries in terms of the number of units and employment, research and development, import and export, etc. To begin with, number of units and employment. Agro-processing industries in India are mainly confined in unorganized sectors. For the unorganized sector, we can utilize the data of National Sample Survey Office. The data on the extent of those activities are generated by means of sample surveys conducted by the NSS office in its periodic surveys on unorganized sectors. In the context of the study, we have used the latest report of 2010 and 11. The data for the organized sector are from the Annual Survey of Industries, also known as ASI, which is the major source of industrial statistics and published by Central Statistics Office CSO under the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. These surveys are conducted annually. The latest survey report of 2012 and 13 can be used as a point of reference here. The data for both organized and unorganized sectors are given in the following table. In the organized category, agro-processing units account for 37.37% of the total manufacturing units and employ 38.8% of the total workers employed in the manufacturing units. Among the agro-processing units, food processing units top the list with 44.61% of the total units and employ 33.17% of employment. Textile accounts for the second spot with 33.42% of units and 46.4% of employment. Tobacco products have the least units. In the unorganized sector, agro-processing accounts for 77.13% of the total units of manufacturing units and 68.14% of the total employment in manufacturing. Among the agro-processing units, textile products accounts for 52.44% of the total units and 52.15% of the total employment, followed by food products. So, it is observed that agro-processing dominates unorganized manufacturing, which is mainly operated in the rural areas. Food and beverage is the most important sector in organized sector, while textile is the most important in the unorganized sector. To talk about research and development, which is also popularly known as R&D, India in the last few decades has enhanced its R&D in the field of agro-processing sector. Both central and state-run universities and other research institutes have specialized departments for R&D in agro-processing sectors. These institutes are Central Agricultural University, Indian Council of Agricultural Research, Indian Institute of Technology, Council of Science and Industrial Research, KVIC, and a number of state governments run agricultural universities. There are more than 50 agricultural universities and deemed universities run by central and state governments. A number of universities have taken up lots of projects in the field of agro-processing. Some of the state governments have also been supporting R&D activities on agro-processing in a number of laboratories and departments. R.P. Kachru of ICAR, New Delhi, has categorized India's R&D in agro-processing as under: number 1, studies on physical, biochemical, nutritional, and engineering properties or characteristics of different food, feed, fiber, and industrial raw materials. Number 2, response studies of different biological materials with respect to their storage, handling, and moisture conditioning. Number 3, development of new products and processes for better nutrition, convenience, and taste. Number 4, enhancement of shelf life of the producers, safe storage and packaging, and development of better performing materials. Number 5, better economic utilization of agricultural residues, byproducts, and recycling of waste. Number 6, design and development of instruments and equipments for post-harvest operations and their evaluation, feasibility analysis, field trials, and multi-location evaluation, etc. Number 7, studying, modeling, and simulation of post-harvest systems and industry for the purpose of optimization, forecasting, and policy analysis. Number 8, energy auditing and use of non-renewable sources of energy for post-harvest operations. Number 9, product quality analysis, sensory evaluation, and consumer acceptance studies. Number 10, work conditions, safety, and pollution control. To discuss about import and export, India is one of the leading producers of agriculture products in the world. It ranks second in the production of wheat, rice, oilseeds, sugarcane, tobacco, cotton, fruit and vegetables. India tops in the production of pulses, jute, and milk. It has the largest livestock population. It also ranks within the top 5 in the production of egg, meat, tea, and maize. Hence, agricultural products, semi-processed and processed, have been the important tradable items. Agro-processed products accounts for about 24% of the total exports. Annually, it accounts for about rupees 4,500 billion approximately. Major agro-processed items in export include textiles, cotton yarns and handloom products, leather and leather products, and rice. On the other hand, in order to meet the demands for its large population, India imports some other agricultural products. It imports annually about 5.54% of the whole agro-processed products, amounting to about rupees 1,510 billions. Major items include vegetable oil, wood and wood products, pulses, and fruit and vegetables. It is important to understand the procedures for starting agro-processing industry. In order to start or run an agro-processing unit, an entrepreneur has to follow certain steps or procedures. This will help an entrepreneur in the market expansion, competitions, and availing of loans. The steps are as below. 1. Selection of location and product. 2. Project appraisal report. Number 3. Government approvals or clearance. 1. Selection of location and product. The most crucial factor is the availability of raw materials. Ideally, raw materials should be available within a small radius. Besides, the main raw material, other supplementary raw materials for generating adequate number of days of the plant operation have to be identified. In addition to this, water, power and other facilities like access to road, railhead, ports and airports, as well as the markets for the products, have to be ensured. Number 2. Project appraisal report. Project appraisal is a process of assessing in a structured way. It involves assessing capital requirements, returns on capital investment, projecting balance sheet, cash flow and fund flows, break-even analysis, technology and machinery requirements, and market survey. Number 3. Government approvals or clearance. For setting up an agro-processing industry, an entrepreneur has to follow certain guidelines and procedures provided by the government and other concerned organizations. Supportive and funding institutions. There are a number of supportive and funding institutions which give grants, loans, subsidies, physical support and marketing support to the agro-processing units. They are Industrial Development Bank of India (IDBI), Industrial Finance Corporation of India (IFCI), Industrial Credit and Investment Corporation of India (ICICI), Small Industrial Development Bank of India (SIDBI), National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development (NABARD), State Financial Corporations, National Credit Development Corporations (NCDC), National Cooperative Development Corporations, Agricultural and Processed Food Products Export Development Authority (APEDA). Now we will talk about constraints. A major problem faced by agro-processing sector of India at the macro and general level is the high concentration of its units in the unorganized sector. The ultimate result is the widespread prevalence of obsolete technology or minimal modern technology and no standardization and grading. Though there is a huge potential for agro-processing sector in India, it has been facing a number of constraints for its growth and expansion. Some of them are: 1. Low investment in agriculture. 2. High working capital. Number 3. Lack of availability of technology. Number 4. Weak linkages between R&D, labs and industry. Number 5. Less attractive career. Number 6. Stiff competition from global players. Number 7. Administrative bottlenecks. 1. Low investment in agriculture. Agriculture is the most important but least invested sector in India. Lack of investment in irrigation and infrastructural development have reduced productivity and increased input cost for agro-processing units. 2. High working capital. Agro-processing sectors comparatively require high working capital. Lack of financial and fiscal aids at different stages of the operations of the units is a serious constraint. Number 3. Lack of availability of technology. Lack of availability or low availability of new reliable and more accurate instruments and equipments are also creating major bottlenecks in the growth of this sector. Even though research and development of this sector has improved in the last few decades, the pace of growth is not in tune with the growing demands and requirements. Number 4. Weak linkages between R&D, labs and industry. Another issue related to R&D is that of weak linkages between the laboratories and the industry. The weak linkages are a result of low investment in the sector. Number 5. Less attractive career. Agro-processing as an entrepreneurial exercise or career option is less attractive as compared to other contemporary entrepreneurial activities. This is why it is mostly confined to the rural areas of India. Number 6. Stiff competition from global players. Nowadays, we have been witnessing unprecedented flooding of agricultural products from global markets in the aftermath of liberalization and have given stiff competition to local producers who are struggling to compete and sustain. Number 7. Administrative bottlenecks. The post-1991 reforms have brought many changes to foster the growth of manufacturing units which have permeated at the grassroots level. A number of bottlenecks and loopholes like nepotism, red tape, corruption are still persisting and hampering the growth of agro-processing sector in India. Agro-processing sector in developed countries engages up to 14% of the total workforce directly or indirectly. In India, in spite of its huge potential, only about 3% of the workforce finds employment in this sector, revealing its underdeveloped state and vast untapped potential for employment. If properly developed, agro-processing sector can make India a major player at the global level for marketing and supply of processed food, feed, and a wide range of other plant and animal products. Thank you.